Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. We have I guess the first part of this show will be very somber, and we're going to talk about some serious things, and we're going to talk about certain topics that media doesn't find lucrative to discuss. So, unfortunately, the way CNN and the Washington Post and the New York Times and MSNBC, the morally superior networks and pundits, the people who tell you how you should view life, how you should decide what is right and what is wrong, the people who preach to you about how you should view life. These people view, unfortunately, human life as currency. That's a really sad metaphor. But human life is currency to CNN, MSNBC, the Washington Post, the New York Times. It really is currency. And Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, thank you very much for being amazing moderators. To my super chat, I don't have $20 million in venture capital funding like some people who want to get money out of politics. So to the super chat, thank you. You allow me to do these live streams. And we always have an amazing live stream in the evening. Let's hope that there are no technical difficulties like last night. I don't think there will be. But people, human life is currency. This is a really unfortunate metaphor that sadly is true, very true. You're not going to get activists on Twitter and the same people who preach to you on social media. You're not going to get pundits and journalists on the left pontificating about lives and the lives of people of color who don't fit their narrative. Because if a life lost doesn't fit the narrative, doesn't fit the world, the paradigm, the reality that Democrats are trying to, in many ways, fabricate, then very few people even know that a human life was lost, or that a person of color lost his or her life. It's not lucrative for them. And if a person loses his or her life, and that event is linked to law enforcement, 24/7 coverage. 24/7 coverage. And the paradigm is, or the message is the following: Trump's America. This is Trump's America, where you're not safe. And law enforcement is just taking people's lives for sport. And don't look at the aggregate numbers, because the aggregate numbers show a different story. And just we're the people who will protect you. We're the good liberal media. Do you know, ladies and gentlemen, who Legend Talifaro? This is a 4-year-old child. A 4-year-old black child who lost his life while he was sleeping in his apartment, while he was in his bed sleeping. I'm not sure if he was in his bed, but he was sleeping in his apartment. When you're in your home, you're in your apartment, you're supposed to feel safe. You're supposed to say, okay, my son or my daughter, my children are safe. You know. But this is a 4-year-old child, a 4-year-old black child, that the media does not talk about, just like David Dorn, 76 I believe he was 76 years old, black man, who lost his life protecting the business of his friend's business. Just like Brennell Trammell, a Trump supporter, 60-year-old black man, who was also murdered. You don't hear of these stories because the media and good left-leaning, good, very morally superior journalists, they don't see this as lucrative, or they don't see it as worthy of discussion every night on the news. But Operation Legend is the name is in honor of this 4-year-old child who was shot. Jasher. The media will only report on something if they think it will harm Trump, to include creating stories. Yes, exactly. And quoting unnamed sources. Exactly. But Jasher, you know, it's this actually, Operation Legend is is a response to one of the reasons Democrats will lose. And I'm going to read you this, Jasher, and everybody here today. So this is a couple weeks back, actually a couple months back, July 8th, 2020, but this is the beginning of Operation Legend. And the interesting thing is that media and the morally righteous and superior and just ethical journalists, Jasher, who view Trump as a really bad human being, these are the same people. These are the same people who say, Trump's a really bad human being. They say President Obama's a really good human being because he apparently, they don't think that destroying Libya is something a bad human being would do. It was a mistake, so I would rather have Trump's personality than President Obama's personality, who said, Libya is my worst mistake, sorry. There's not one thing President Trump has done that's worse than what NATO did, led by the United States and President Obama, to the country of Libya. Notice how the Lincoln Project and the smart power people within the Democratic Party never vacation to the regime changes that they implement. They never vacation in Libya or any of the countries linked to Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld. They never do that. Why is that? Jasher, thank you. But I want to read you this. This is really there are now 200 plus, it's probably up to 300 now, federal investigations. I mean, over 1,000 people have been charged and arrested. But there have been over 200 people indicted on because of federal investigations linked to Operation Legend. But here, today, Attorney General William P. Barr announced the launch of Operation Legend, a sustained, systemic, and coordinated law enforcement initiative across all federal law enforcement agencies, working in conjunction with state and local law enforcement officials to fight the sudden surge of violent crime. There has been, if you look, there have been around, just in Illinois and New York, and this is not hyperbole, over 200 people within the span of about a month and a half shot. That's not hyperbole. We can go and look at the numbers now. And these are Democratic run, gun control. You're looking at the utopia of the Democratic Party. And not a word. Not a word. I mean, forget about the $1.4 billion in property damage. Flat Fee Guy LLC, hello. Thank you. Flat Fee Guy LLC, thank you very, very much. Thank you. Flat Fee Guy LLC, thank you so very, very much. Greatly appreciated. The sudden surge of violent crime beginning in Kansas City, Missouri. Operation Legend was created as a result of President Trump's promise to assist America's cities that are plagued by recent violence. So, who do you think benefits when you say you want to defund law enforcement? People who want to defund law enforcement have never been the victims of violent crime. And if they have, I don't know I don't know what the mentality is. You're not like people who are criminals. They commit crimes when law enforcement is active. So they're actually committing violent crimes and assaults and the most horrible things when law enforcement is doing the best it can. Imagine if you want to defund law enforcement. It's like you have a situation where, yes, George Floyd and Eric Garner under President Obama. Now, President Obama's administration could have saved George Floyd's life. All they could have done, the morally righteous and superior liberal Democrats in the Oval Office, President Obama, all he could have said was, look, after Eric Garner, I'm going to sign an executive order like President Trump does all the time. And there should be an executive. I think President Trump should sign an executive order saying, look, you can't, if a person, a suspect, is on the ground and subdued, you can't put your neck or your boot on the person's neck. That's it. You can't do that. And or legislation from the Democratic Party. Liza Jean, hello. Flat Fee Guy, LLC. Thank you. Old School Dad Man. HA Critical. And paid for by citizens without ever talk about it. You know what, Old School Dad Man? Trump did the right thing. He did the right thing. He definitely did the right thing on that. But see, I'm a person who I acknowledge, because I come from the left, and there are many valid concerns and points emanating from the left. Kathy DePoy! Kathy! Hello, Kathy. I hope all is well. Thank you for watching the upload this morning, Kathy. Kathy DePoy, thank you. Old School Dad Man. Kathy. Flat Fee LLC. The left has... There are some valid concerns. TJ, hello. There are some valid concerns. Numerous valid concerns. All you have to do... This is a legitimate concern, okay? And I mean, you want to talk about their police brutality exists. I support law enforcement, but I also understand police brutality exists. I also go to the doctor, but I also understand medical malpractice exists. I also have attorneys, but I also understand that there are attorneys that don't do a good job, or there's malpractice there. Like, this obsession that Democrats have is completely backfiring. Or the media obsession, I should say. And Democrats sitting on the fence, they do this all the time. They sit on the fence, they're like, well, we're not going to... You never see Nancy Pelosi kneeling for the national anthem. Why is that? Because what Democrats do is they'll kneel on their own time saying, oh, we're with you. And then they'll let athletes take the heat, and they'll let the whole country look at these athletes and say, okay, I mean, it started with one person, and then that person got a big Nike deal, and now you have... Now, what's the message? Because there are always going to be injustices within any country, including within our country, that we're always going to have to address. Do you just never stand for the national anthem? What country in the world, what country in the world doesn't have injustices that they need to resolve? There's not a country in the world that doesn't. So we're always going to have to evolve and turn into a better place. All you had to do from when Eric Garner was murdered in New York City, and de Blasio and Schumer and Gillibrand and Cuomo and all the wonderful, morally superior liberals, all they had to do was either President Obama could have signed an executive order, which I think that President Trump should, banning the use of your knee or a choke or your boot on someone's neck when they're on the ground and subdued. And especially if they say, I can't breathe. That should have happened. That's what sparked all of this, and that's what should have been addressed under President Obama's administration. But now you have everything. They conflate everything into, and then you have $1.4 billion in property damage that William Barr is addressing with Operation Legend. And we're gonna talk more about how the child, this 4-year-old child, was murdered and lost his life because of a man shooting into his apartment from outside the apartment because he got into an altercation with the man's father. And the altercation had nothing to do with the child or even the child's mother. It was something completely different. And so these types of things take place, and media doesn't care. In fact, you had a CNN host saying, well, I mean, it was Terry Crews, who's awesome. And he was saying, look, you know what? There are human beings who lose their life. And there are communities that are suffering from violence. And so it's true, you have to address the people who lose their lives with law enforcement, but there's a bigger picture here. And then the CNN host had the audacity to say, well, then start your own movement regarding that, because this movement is solely focused on law enforcement. What kind of answer is that? That's like basically you're kind of almost explaining exactly. Oh my goodness, Lisa Lister! Lisa Lister. My God, thank you so very, very, very much, Lisa Lister. Ladies and gentlemen, thank Lisa for me. I mean, that is just unbelievable, and just thank you so very, very much, Lisa. Thank you very, very, very much. I just want to thank you very much, and on behalf of my Elvis hair, I have, what is it called? Pompadour? I have like almost a pompadour. Just growing it out right here. I just want to thank you. My hair and myself, thank you. Lisa Lister, thank you so very, very, very much. Everyone, give Lisa a lot of love. Lisa, thank you for being here from day one. Thank you for always supporting this channel and my voice. And I just want to say thank you very, very, very much. It's greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated. And you allow me to do what I do. Lisa and everybody here, I am addressing the algorithm in a manner that, so I do 2 segments a day. Ladies and gentlemen. Kathy, everybody here, Lisa Lister. I do 2 segments a day on this channel. And I'm going to ramp up content on H.A. Goodman's other channel. But it's almost like we're in this holding pattern in the election where we're in this this purgatory. And it's like you have to be able to be interesting, but also if you talk about certain subjects, they go after you, but I find ways, especially on the live stream and then on the upload in the morning, with my unique and annoying personality and my long-winded communication style, to just talk about those things and kind of get, try to fly under the radar. So you allow me to do all of these to my super chat. Thank you. And Lisa Lister, thank you so very, very, very much. Thank you, Lisa. Kathy, thank you. Pete Solano. H.A. Jeremy, the same thing. Hispanic defunding the police, 1931. Yeah, Pete, there's a lot of... it's interesting. Lisa Lister, thank you. Kathy, Pete Solano. Pete, it's interesting. Democrats love government, except William Barr. They love government. Oh, they love the United States government, except President Trump, except the Postmaster General, except the Surgeon General, except anyone who agrees with Trump within the U.S. government, except Mnuchin, except Stephen Miller, except Richard Grenell, except John Radcliffe. They loved Jeff Sessions, though. Oh, they loved him. And what did I tell you, everybody? I told you. I lost close to 1,000 subs when I explained to everybody, you know what? Then I debated Jordan Sather, and I said, look, man, this is complete nonsense, a complete hoax. And it's going to hurt Trump supporters, it's going to hurt President Trump. And you see right now, when Democrats are going to lose, when they lose, they're going to blame LMNOP. Lisa Lister, thank you again, Lisa. So very kind of you, so sweet of you. Thank you. And have a great evening. Pete, thank you so much. But let's just continue. President Trump. So Operation Legend is named after a four-year-old Legend Talafaro, who was shot and lost his life while he slept early in the morning of June 29th in Kansas City. The latest in a string of violence to plague Kansas City in recent weeks. Kansas City has already reached 100 homicides this year. My God. My God. Now, you don't, and I understand it. Well, it's two different stories. I get it. I understand it. And you can address the issue because police brutality is a real thing. Okay, you can support law enforcement and address and understand that it's a real thing. Yeah, I think that it's a real thing. That look at what happened to Daniel Shaver in Arizona. I mean, this man was. You're talking about an execution. The video, and this is not a person of color, white guy. And Daniel Shaver, he knows also exactly, he knew exactly what brutality was. And see, the officer should not have gotten off. That was the most horrific thing. One of the most horrific things I've ever seen. Okay? And in addition to what happened to Eric Garner, if you look back at what happened to Eric Garner, he was just horrific. I mean, these horrible atrocities take place. These atrocities take place. Okay? And instead of addressing the atrocity, media, Democrats, I mean, when it's under their watch, they don't say anything. They don't say anything. When it's complicated and there's nuance and you have people like Daniel Shaver and others who don't fit the narrative, well, you know what? That's just, And yes, people of color have been targeted more so than anyone else in terms of examples of police brutality. Yes, I understand this. But you solve it with training and you solve it with laws. You don't solve it with $1.4 billion in property damage. It's not going to change anything because at the end of the day, Law enforcement officials have families too. They have families too. They deal with the worst in society of all backgrounds, of all types of human beings, not just one, all backgrounds. Every day that a police officer gets into the onto the motorcycle, so I'm a member of the 1199 Foundation, the California Highway Patrol Foundation that gives scholarships and provides assistance to the families of fallen CHP officers. And the California Highway Patrol does so much, not just law enforcement, but they do a lot. Like if you get into an accident, they'll help you. If your car breaks down on the freeways, we have hundreds and hundreds of miles of freeways throughout California. So the CHP is all over. That they protect you from drunk drivers. They do a lot. And so I'm part of the 1199 Foundation. That's the plaque that I have on my other studio that you see. But every single day, you have police officers going to work saying, "Okay, I could lose my life today." It's a serious issue. You don't like people who talk a lot. They don't realize what police officers go through. At the same time, there's the issue of brutality, and there's the issue that has to be addressed. You can look at these two issues and say, okay, let's address a problem without exacerbating or creating new problems or conflating a whole bunch of issues simply for political gain. And Lisa Lister, thank you so very, very, very much again. Sigma Nu UCLA. What up? They banned our parties due to our refusal to wear masks, so we're spending a warm evening with you. Sigma Nu UCLA. Sigma Nu UCLA. Sigma Nu UCLA. You know what? So they banned all parties. You know, unfortunately, throughout Los Angeles, people are having parties, and that's why the mayor is Sigma Nu UCLA. I don't know if you've heard this, and Lisa and everybody here, the mayor of Los Angeles, it was like nobody's like, well, people are forced to live a certain way, except Nancy Pelosi. She can live any way she wants. To go to the hair salon, no problem. She doesn't have to wear a mask inside the hair salon, no problem. Everyone, no hair salon and also a mask. Oh, by the way, Sigma Nu UCLA, everybody, there's a Canadian, the Canadian top health authority said during relations with the wife or the husband, you have to wear a mask. Isn't that interesting? Oh, my goodness. Do I have to wear a mask for that, too? Oh, come on, man. Come on, man. Oh, come on, man. Could you imagine? Sigma Nu UCLA, thank you so very, very much. Greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated. Sigma Nu UCLA. Jasher! Liberal thing was Nobel Peace Prize. I ran after exactly. Then 7 countries in 6 years and 26,000. Yep, 16 alone. And Libya. And also what took place, my God Almighty, what he did with funding rebels. I mean, it's unbelievable. That was also a slow regime change too, in a country with the capital, Damascus. Sometimes you have to speak like that because you say certain words and it's like a big problem on YouTube, whatever. But it's like it's just unbelievable. Jasher, it's unbelievable. And it's like it is unbelievable. Lisa Lister, thank you. Donald J. Trump, Lisa Lister, you're a legend. H.A., you're okay. Yes! President Trump, thank you. President Trump, it is an honor. It is indeed an honor. It is indeed an honor to have you on this chat. Thank you, sir. President Trump, thank you. Donald J. Trump. But let's continue. President Trump, you've made it clear. The federal government, President Trump has made it clear the federal government stands ready and willing to assist any of our state and local law enforcement partners across the nation responding to violent crime. Operation Legend will combine federal and local resources to combat the disturbing uptick in violence by surging federal agents and federal assets into cities like Kansas City, a city currently experiencing its worst homicide rate in its history. The departments, and you have to ask yourself, I'll just be very vague. Okay, what communities are facing the brunt of this homicide epidemic? Okay, this is a 4-year-old child, a 4-year-old black child. What communities? And so, what do you think Democrats? Do you think Democrats care? They don't care. They don't care. You can type in. This is really unbelievable. This is really unbelievable. Okay? If you type in, and it's just, it's unbelievable. NPC, God bless UHA, God bless President Trump, God bless our military, and God bless our police and EMS. Exactly, and God bless you, NPC. Exactly. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much. As always, NPC, Lisa, thank you, NPC, and God bless you. Thank you. If you type in, this is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. New York, NBCNewYork.com. Just, you type in at least 51 people in New York on August 15th, 2020. We can do this. Just New York and Chicago. These are two Democratic-run states. This is just the past couple of months, people. And this is like you're talking about hundreds. Well, let's start with July. Weekend. New York Times. Spike in New York. Okay. 64 shot. 64 people. 64 people on July 6th. Then August 15th. 51 over the weekend. You have 105 people in the span of a month and a half. You have 100, and this is, I mean, I'm not making this up. This is the New York Times, July 6th. This is the New York Times, July 6th. They don't care. CNN does not care. It's fiery but peaceful. Every day is fiery but peaceful. People. And look what de Blasio has done to the NYPD. July 6, 2020. NPC, everyone here. Lisa, July 6, 2020. New York Times. Spike in New York. Okay. Leaves 64. 64 human beings shot. Okay. 64. And this is a city. This is like the liberal utopia. New York City is run by Democratic mayor, the state has a Democratic governor, 2 Democratic senators. Most of the representatives in the state are Democrat. Most of the city councilmen and councilwomen are Democrats. So what more do they want? July 6, 2020. July 6, 2020. Sigma Nu, UCLA, NPC, Lisa Lister. July 6, 2020. 64 human beings. And this is supposed to be with the activists and the advocates on, curbing the Second Amendment, the scourge of the Second Amendment. Well, these were illegal possession of a weapon. Almost all of them. Almost all of these examples. 64 people on July 6th, 2020. Then you go to August 15th, 51 people over a weekend. You have 105 people in 2 weekends within a month and a half. Within a month and a half. Shot. That's not Trump's fault. That's not Trump's fault. That's not Trump's fault. That's the fault. That's the fault of the wonderful Democrats that preside over their cities that are being completely torn apart. So you have 105 people within the span of 1 month. And again, I gave you the New York Times, and then it was NBC New York. Okay? NBC New York. Okay? Then, if you want to just look at Chicago, you could do the same search. Okay? The same search. 54 people. I mean, I don't know what it is. August 10th, 40 people. So you do the numbers. There's 105 in a month and a half. And that's, I think, a conservative estimate in New York. Shot. Then, 6 days ago, 54 people in Chicago. And then on August 10th, 40 people. That's 94 people. Oh, sorry. Chicago Sun-Times says 55 people 6 days ago in one weekend. So 55 people, and then August 10th, you have 40 people. Okay, that's according to the Chicago Sun-Times on August 10th and the Chicago Sun-Times 6 days ago. So the beginning of September, the end of August. You have 95 people in the span of 1 month in Chicago. 95 people. Then, if you want to add the beginning, late July, that's 40 people. So you have around 135 people. From August 3rd to September 5th. 135 people, ladies and gentlemen. 135 people. NPC, Lisa Lister, everyone here. Does this make any sense to you? Is this even possible? You have over 240 people in 1 month in Chicago and Illinois. That's according to the New York Times and the Chicago Sun-Times. About 240 people that I just, from a quick Google search. And these are two cities that pride themselves on gun control. That are run pure. Illinois and New York are Democratic machines. Machines. Democratic machines. And what communities are being just decimated by all of this violence. So it's really, really insidious. You have about 240 people just in New York and Chicago alone. And Democrats are doing what? What are Democrats doing? 240 people, not the fault of law enforcement. 240 families, ladies and gentlemen. 240 people who were somebody's son or daughter or brother or sister. 240 people in two Democratic-run cities. Perhaps a certain percentage were people of color. Do you think media cares? Do you think media cares at all? No. This is why nobody trusts media. This is why when the Atlantic comes out with an article, they've absolutely lost their mind. It's now 8th grade. There are 8th graders who have better logical reasoning skills than all the best journalists. Well, the AP and Fox News and Reuters have confirmed. You cannot confirm something that is gossip and hearsay to begin with. Nobody can say, I've confirmed that Mary stole Bob's briefcase. I've confirmed from Jill. Jill told me it. I've confirmed it. Oh, you spoke to Jill? Really? You mean, Barbara didn't tell you? Or Barbara told you, but you spoke to Jill directly? And now you know, and you've confirmed that Mary stole Bob's briefcase? Do you have any evidence? No. Do you have any video footage? No. Do you have any pictures? No. But then they say, well, Trump denigrated fallen soldiers. No, he didn't. That's not even within his personality. So, I mean, as an objective, that's not within his personality. He'll go after people who go after him. But he's definitely a person who respects the country, loves the traditions of the country, has the normal and the traditional viewpoint of patriotism, upholds the traditional viewpoint of patriotism. They say, well, protest is patriotic. Yeah, I guess it is, if it's peaceful. Not if there's $1.4 billion in property damage. He's not the type of person to look at fallen soldiers. The left, people on the left are the type of people to disparage. We can go, do you know what they were saying about John McCain? That was the left. That was the left denigrating John McCain. Trump never made those quotes. They invented everything. And then they say, well, some things have been corroborated. They do the same thing with the Steele dossier. This complete nonsense. Yeah, Trump visited Russia. So what? Just because just because some things within gossip and hearsay and lies are true doesn't make the statement true. These people are like, the truth about them has been told. We all know the truth about them. So they said, okay, if the truth about us, if Trump and the Russians have told the truth about us, then we'll go ahead and we will talk about dog whistling and subliminals, and we will just manufacture quotes that don't exist, saying that Trump meant it, or that someone said Trump stated these quotes. Therefore, and we'll write headlines, Trump said this, and he never said it. This is not journalism. And you know what, honestly, who knows if journalism has ever been you can look at some of the things that William Randolph Hearst was doing. Journalism has always been a little bit of just this sensationalized public relations, tabloid type of salacious, either fear-mongering or promoting things that just weren't true. Let's see. There was a time of yellow journalism that got us into wars. What did Chris Cuomo say? The media is not your friend. He told that to Michael Cohen. The media is not your friend. That's why I've had people who try to interview me, and I'm like, yes, send me your questions via email, and never hear from them again. Like, I'm not gonna talk on the phone with you, crazy. You think I'm nuts? Why would I go and you're gonna deliberately misquote me or add words to the quotes or whatever. It's like, I mean, do not ever, ever, ever. If you're ever interviewed for anything, have the journalist simply email you questions. This way, at least you have a record that you could fall back on and say, look, I didn't say that. I emailed him these answers. I just want to talk to you. I'm a reporter. Oh, thanks, Scoop. Who was the reporter for Superman? What is he? What was Superman's reporter friend? What was his name? Why can't I not Lois Lane. Who was it? Jimmy Olsen. Thanks, Jimmy Olsen. But it's like, Jimmy, that's right. SDSR, that's right. So it's like, you have the world. That's why, like, there's a huge disconnect between the world and media. Like, reality, the life on the streets, or life in your neighborhood, or life at the local supermarket is different from the world that media portrays. Because the world that media portrays has to be lucrative. They have to make money. So, you know, dun 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 dun, new flesh-eating bacteria. Oh my God. What? Honey, turn the music down. We have to hear about this flesh-eating bacteria. So, I think there's new everything. Hold on one second here. Flesh-eating bacteria. What is, there's this new bacteria here. Oh, here. There you go. It's going on everywhere. Australia has a flesh-eating bacteria problem. People, it's the Atlantic, so let's try to find another source. But I mean, they're like, you have to, for issues pertaining to science, like not politicized issues. Sure, these are, you know, you have to worry about, like, you have to worry about those things, or concern yourself with those things, but you have an interaction with a police officer and you simply treat them with respect, and you've done nothing wrong, you're going to be fine. It doesn't matter what background you are. And some might say, oh my God, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, if you treat the police officer with respect, even if you feel that you've been wronged, even if you feel that you weren't speeding, or, you know, just say, when in my life, whenever I've been stopped, it's yes sir, no sir, yes sir, no sir, yes sir, no sir. That's it. Now, I'm not comparing myself to the brutality faced by people of color in certain circumstances. So I'm not trying to utilize my experiences as like some kind of political statement. I can only tell you that if there's been any time where I'm like, but I did stop, I haven't even said anything. Yes sir, no sir, yes sir, no sir, that's it. Like, God bless you, thank you sir, thank you ma'am, thank you, that's it. And then generally, you're going to be fine. Have there been numerous examples, or is there an issue with policing and policing within communities of color? Yeah, there are concerns and issues, and they have to be addressed. Of course. Is there an issue with 240 people within the span of 1 month and a half, shot in 2 cities, major cities within the country? Yeah, there is. What does that have to do with there's a different topic? Yeah, I know it's a different topic. But nobody, at a certain point, you have to look at aggregate numbers. If you look at aggregate numbers, this is what Terry Crews was trying to talk about on CNN. And then the wonderful Mr. Lemon was saying, well, start your own movement on that. It's like, no, Terry Crews was bringing that up. Many African-American activists and leaders. All right, we're back. All right. Sir Buffalot. Oh, no. Not again. Okay, are we back? All right. I don't know what's going on, but after an hour, it gets something's going on. So you have Operation Legend, ladies and gentlemen, and it's like cities are being overrun. This is not hyperbole. You have 240 people within 2 cities in 1 month, 1 month and a half, shot, and media says nothing about it. Reporting it is different, ladies and gentlemen. Reporting it is different from obsessing over it and talking about it. And what they do is they do not talk about lives lost within the protests, property damage, businesses. Why don't they talk about black-owned businesses that have been destroyed by the peaceful yet fiery protests? Why don't they talk about the Hispanic-owned businesses, the Asian-owned businesses run by and owned by people of color? Why don't they talk about Legend Talifaro? God bless him. God bless his soul. I'm looking at a picture here. A beautiful, beautiful 4-year-old. Life taken because somebody was firing into an apartment building. If you're not safe in your, this is why you need to embrace the Second Amendment. But even if you embrace the Second Amendment, in this situation, someone is firing into an apartment without any regard for, just like rampant, you're doing this and you know that people are going to hear and they're going to see what you're doing. And you know that innocent people, their lives could be taken, and a 4-year-old child sleeping. And the media doesn't care. They don't even talk about the name Operation Legend. They don't even... Trump is a racist. Do you understand? He's a racist. Yeah, because all the wonderful, good people at the New York Times told you, Max Saban... Democrats' only hope is to obtain under cover of chaos. Yep. H.A., you rocking the Arnold flat top from Commando. That's right. And hold on, if I go like this a little bit. I'm in Chicago and I can share with you media underreports crime. Businesses want National Guard. Yep. I love Chicago. Anthony Andrea. I love Chicago. Love Chicago. Love New York. 2 of the great cities in this country. 2 of the greatest cities in the world. 2 of the greatest cities in the world, Anthony. And it's like, you look at the country, it's like, well, it ain't Trump's fault. We know this. And then the media's like, oh, Trump is trying to, like, everything is like this snarky, like, oh yeah. It's like this is like the oh yeah era in media. Oh yeah, here's a fact check. And what they do with the fact checks is that they simply provide a rebuttal. A rebuttal is not a fact check. A fact check is if you claim something is categorically false, which, by the way, 30% plus. And we're not even counting the hyperbole and all the other nonsense that all the other ways they try to just simply twist Trump's words. But like hyperbole, like saying that this is the best economy we've ever had when we had record low unemployment and record highs in the stock market, that's not necessarily the worst lie of all time. It might be hyperbole, but it's not necessarily a lie. They're like, he lied. It was much better in, 1872. But the fact checkers had the 30,000 lies or 20,000 lies or whatever, like, actually checked, and like 30+% were true, categorically true. I mean, if you used that standard to judge President Obama and Bill Clinton, or Hillary, who, by the way, will be there. She'll be there. She'll be there. Check out my segment from earlier today. I'm not falling for this, Tales from the Crypt. They're not serious. So, and the thing is, like, the whole planet knows that they can't win. So, but you see this. All they do is they paint a picture of the world that doesn't exist, and then they want you to believe. They want you to believe that, there's really nobody responsible for the property damage and the violence and the mayhem and the chaos. It's just happening. Then the far left there's like this one study done from some group said, oh, only, the violence has nothing to do with, the people who are protesting. It's like, well, then who's committing the violence then? Trump supporters? We're the left-leaning people in Oregon, one of whom talked about, the beginning of this civil conflict. Are they voting Trump? Are they conservatives? Are they Republican? Who's setting ablaze? Who's setting police stations in Oregon and Washington ablaze? It ain't Trump supporters. And you can imagine if they are apoplectic over paintballs. Imagine if any of this chaos and mayhem was linked to Trump supporters. D. Velasquez! D! Have you seen this Strzok book preview in Politico? Oh, my God. I know. What a joke. Must be a comedy. This is the type of thing. This is the type of thing that, oh, Lord. This is the type of thing that they have to address. They have to address this. They have to address this. D. Velasquez, thank you. They have to address this. Lord, people, I apologize. I don't know what's going on. About 1 hour in. D. Velasquez, thank you so much. Kathy DuBois, Kathy, thank you. As always, Kathy, thank you. Lisa Lister, thank you. Kathy, thank you as always. Kathy DuBois. D. Velasquez, thank you. Yeah, D. Velasquez, I don't... They write these books to try to preempt any further investigation from the Durham probe. So what they do is they say, Yeah, you know what? We might be investigated by John Durham, but at least we'll go ahead, Kathy and D. Velasquez and Anthony. At least we'll go ahead and McCabe wrote a book. James Comey wrote a book. Strzok is actually helping Trump when he's saying, yeah, the Steele dossier was complete nonsense. And he's the man who said, we'll stop Trump. So, and then he says Trump is a national security threat. Who cares what these fired intelligence operatives say? And the media, Peter Strzok would like to clear a few things up. The media just gives them every chance. The New York Times ex-FBI agent in Russia inquiry says Trump is a national security threat. Yeah, we know that. He actually said stop Trump. These people are hilarious. These people are hilarious. He actually said stop Trump. That he actually stated stop Trump. That's actually what he stated. We'll stop Trump. Well, so we know this. And election interference has never been questioned. We don't a former FBI agent says Russia held back in 2016 election interference. Russia held back. Okay. Strzok has a new book. Oh my God. Some of the classified intelligence he saw suggested Russia did not leave it all on the table in 2016. Kremlin hasn't been resting on its laurels. We knew there was information and techniques and means of it they used. It's unbelievable. This has to be the worst propaganda of all time. This is the worst propaganda. It has to be the worst propaganda of all time. I mean, it has to be the worst propaganda of all time. To say that election interference. Well, what was the interference that we learned that Debbie Wasserman Schultz was forced to resign? So what was the interference? Well, I would like to know what the interference was. What was the interference? Lisa Lister, thank you again so much. Kathy, thank you as always. What was the interference? Max Saban, stop Trump, was just a bipartisan metaphor. Yeah. Well, I all throughout 2016, Max, I was writing in the Huffington Post, the Hill Salon, and I was saying the same thing. There's no... Can you hear me, ladies and gentlemen? Can you hear me? It's always after 1 hour. It's after 1 hour now, and I don't know why. I have no clue why after 1 hour. This is, I'm not going to reboot the computer again because I don't want to get into that habit. But Luke St. Martin, thank you. Eric H526, thank you. Trailblazer ATV, hello. Rand, hello. These words are... Roy, hello. These words are... like these euphemisms, election interference. What does that even mean? Like, you lost because of election interference? You weren't good enough? So one way to look at it is you weren't good enough circumvent or to rise above election interference, to overcome election interference. Election interference did you in. You were that weak and pathetic. The Democratic Party's message was so weak and pathetic that election interference did them in. Is that how it goes now? Is that what's going on? I thought that, I mean, how much more can you have in terms of an advantage? How much of an advantage? How much more of an advantage can you have? How much more of an advantage can you possibly have? You have everything going on here. You have every possible advantage from media to Hollywood to money. Peggy, thank you. You mean to tell me that you could not overcome knowing that the Democrats were cheating Bernie Sanders? Bernard Sanders. What a fantastic politician. And it's interesting because, I mean, you have, ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 months, not even. It's pretty like October, November. Yeah, less than 2 months. And they are heading towards an iceberg yet again. They're going to lose again. They're going to lose again. And this is the Washington Post. He investigated Clinton and Trump. Then the Justice Department turned on him. No, he didn't investigate Clinton. He investigated in name only. And then he investigated Trump based on a dossier purchased by Clinton. And this is how they lie. They say, well, it wasn't just the dossier. It was Alexander Downer. Yeah, he's also linked to the Clinton Foundation and both Clintons. So there you go. There you go. And I there's something going on. I think this is the moment that I just keep talking about. There's something going on, and the only chance they possibly have is with Hillary Clinton. She's the only chance they have. Let's look at what the wonderful Joe Biden's doing. Or what they're making him do. Even CNN. This is Joe Biden's true lead is smaller than it appears. I'm telling you, Hillary Clinton's going to be there. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen. I am telling you, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to go longer. How is the? You know what? There are reception issues. Let me see if there are reception issues, and I don't know why. We've gone over an hour, and this always happens now and this is supposed to be several hours, but it could happen with simply a meeting. It could happen with something unintended, I'm just going to go with a meeting. And Tom Perez saying, look, we can't win. And, one of Biden's. I don't want to get in this. I don't want to be disrespectful. Oh, that's a nice picture of me. That's a fantastic picture of me. I don't want to be disrespectful, but the man, there are probably 30 different ways that the exhumed body could pass the. I don't want to be disrespectful to Biden, but there are probably 30 different ways that. Luke, I think I will do that. There are probably 30 different ways that they could pass the mantle or pass the baton to Hillary. And I'm just going to roll with, look, they've for whatever reason, before the debates, they've decided to change their nominee because they can't win with Biden. They cannot win with this man. And everyone knows it. It's not even going to be close enough for them to cheat. Now, in 2016, I said that Clinton couldn't win. She didn't win. I'm the only person saying now. Oh, finally, excellent connection, finally. I'm the only person saying that there's something not right about I don't feel that there is an election. Do you feel, ladies and gentlemen, there's an election going on? I mean, I know there's a pandemic issue, but do you feel that there's like an actual, like, here are the articles. I type in Joe Biden. I will not vote for Joe Biden. Joe Biden's truly is smaller than it appears. Joe Biden's Wisconsin town hall marred by eyebrow-raising statements. And CNN was the article that says Joe Biden's true lead is smaller than it appears. Does that make any sense, ladies and gentlemen, knowing that media embraces the rear end of any Democratic nominee, especially Madam Secretary? Why aren't they embracing Joe Biden's rear end? Because they're afraid he'd embrace them. But why aren't they embracing him? Because there's nothing to embrace. Everyone knows that there's. Everyone knows, ladies and gentlemen, that everyone knows that President Trump is on his way to going 8 years. Even Democrats know this. Nice. Did you know President Trump has a fact-checking site for Joe Biden? It's interesting. Nobody knows this. This is actually really good. Here's the link, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the link. Actually, here's the link. Antonio, hello. Anthony! HA, I'm going with Biden. Feigning. Chairwoman. Something has to happen. I've shied away, Anthony. I don't want to go in that direction because I know that they'll like crucify me if I go in that direction. But anything can happen with a man who looks and acts like an exhumed body. And God bless him. I'm not referring to any specific calamity. I'm just saying that you're talking about a person with a litany of troubles, and like God forbid, in Hebrew the word is chas v'shalom. God forbid, it's just anything bad. God forbid. I want only good things for Joe Biden. May he live to be 120 years old and have a just happier life than ever. But you're talking about a nominee that is won a Zoom meeting nomination. There's zero passion for this man. Oh, that's awesome. President Trump just retweeted Brandon Straka. He's great. Wow. Looking here. So you look at November 3rd is going to be so rewarding. Anthony, Lisa, November 3rd is going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome because you're not, Democrats are going to lose, and they're they're not going to know how to handle it because they don't have corrupt intelligence officials helping them out this time. And you look at the left-leaning pundits. Nobody is talking about Biden. Nobody. They're not talking about Biden. You can look at any of the $20 million venture capital type pundits. They're focused on they're focused on like just how bad Trump is. They don't get that people see he just had two major foreign policy achievements that Democrats could never have achieved, and they didn't achieve. Two major foreign policy achievements, and it's like crickets, softer crickets than the ones here. You're looking at, I'm trying to find, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm doing is I'm trying to find, they're the crickets, they're back. I'm trying to find, I'm not going to tell you the names of the people, but they're left-leaning, either far left, whatever. They're pundits that said vote for Hillary Clinton in 2016. They're pundits that said vote for Hillary Clinton in 2016. And they're not talking about Joe Biden. Nobody is talking about Joe Biden. They're not talking about... Trump supporters are talking about, wow, this is an amazing diplomatic achievement, like foreign policy achievement between Israel and the UAE and Serbia and Kosovo, and these are foreign policy achievements. The economy is rebounding. You have the Durham probe, which is important to a great many people supporting Trump. You have Operation Legend, which is important. You have things that President Trump is doing. He just signed an executive order not long ago pertaining to prescription drug prices. He wants to use the $300 billion in money that's left from the pandemic for a stimulus. So there are things that President Trump is doing that you can actually point to, that you can actually be excited about. Richard Grenell was amazing. He was like talking to these journalists and reporters about what Serbia and Kosovo and how it was just a breakthrough, a paradigm-changing time. And the reporter wanted to just talk about, the usual like scandal or what, like, something else. And he was like, maybe it's because you're too young. You don't know how important this is. You don't know the history of what's taken place the past 30 years in that location in the world. April Christman! April! Have you already spoken about Joe Biden's ex-husband's book? I haven't, although I heard that it's just basically like gossip about how Joe took her away from him, something like that. Which Joe Biden's such a decent, good man. He's such a good human being. Oh, this is hilarious. They think that this is absolutely hilarious. One person thinks that Biden could win with the same margin of victory as President Obama over McCain. Just one minor difference. President Obama was an amazing campaigner, and he was the first black president, which was a remarkable, amazing, beautiful thing. And there was an immense amount of enthusiasm, like off the charts. That enthusiasm, or the candidate with the most enthusiasm by far, is President Trump. They are going to be, if they go with Biden, which they won't, they're going to be decimated. It's not even going to be close. Their whole thing is that, like, look, they don't even have to say it. Their thing is, let's get close enough so we could cheat and media will cover for us. That's the only thing they care about. Let's get close enough so we can cheat. If we can get close enough so we can cheat. If we can get close enough so we can cheat, then if we can get close enough so we could cheat, media will cover for us. And they're very likely going to win the popular vote, so they'll fall back on that. But who cares about the popular vote? If you care so much about the popular vote, then go ahead and try to do away with the Electoral College and see if you can get an amendment to the Constitution to do away with the Electoral College. It's like they're like, Trump is a threat to the Republic. You literally want to erase parts of the Constitution you don't like. You just don't like certain parts of the Constitution. You want to erase them. So who's the threat to the Republic? We're a republic because of our Constitution, which you don't like. You don't like the Second Amendment. You don't like the way the Supreme Court is set up. You don't like the Electoral College. You don't like anything about it. Or let's just put it this way. You find things to dislike that correlate with your with saving face. So it's like, oh my God, we need to pack the courts. We need to pack the Supreme Court. Why? Well, because we lost. Oh, okay. Not only is there no chance Biden, like, I'm being objective here, ladies and gentlemen. April, Lisa Lister, everyone here, I'm being objective. Obviously, I'm voting for President Trump, and I've been a Trump supporter for a long time. About 2 years, a year and a half, over a year and a half, like 2 years. I'm looking at, there's no way they go with Biden, and Hillary will be on that debate stage, and I don't care what happens with the mail-in ballots and whatever. I don't care. Media and Democrats, the only rules they have are that there are no rules for them. There are no rules. They cheat Bernie Sanders. They cheated him in 2016. Debbie Wasserman Schultz was forced to resign. They cheated him in 2020 in Iowa with an app linked to Clinton campaign officials. It wasn't for Biden. At the end of the day, I don't know how. I have no clue. I have no clue how it happens. But Hillary Clinton is the only chance they have. And you'll see the jump in enthusiasm. I'm telling you, you're going to see some enthusiasm. Because Biden is like, they are, this is a very, they are going with a man right now that does not inspire anyone. President Trump inspires people. Okay? President Trump is charismatic. President Trump fights. You can dislike his personality. See, the thing is, if you want somebody to go to bat for you, it's not like the person has to like pass a manners or a civility class. He goes to bat. President Trump goes to bat for people. He was wronged by intelligence officials. He's going to bat. He's fighting back with the Durham probe. We now see rampant criminal behavior and violence. He has Operation Legend, and he's tried to do other things too, which we've had a trade imbalance that hasn't been addressed for a long time with China. He's addressing the trade imbalance. Tariffs are the only way to truly address the trade imbalance at this point. You have CEOs in not just the steel industry, industries across the country, businesses across the country who said, you know what, because of whether it's intellectual property, theft, a whole bunch of things, tariffs are needed. President Obama imposed certain tariffs. So the Trans-Pacific Partnership was horrendous, and that was a way to address the trade imbalance. That was the Democratic Party's way of addressing it. But he's going to bat. He is. We had a record low unemployment, and they still said the sky was falling. Now we had the pandemic, and the economy is still rebounding, and the economy's rebounding, and they still say the sky is falling. They'll never, ever stop. Sigma Nu, UCLA. Trump has ordered all. I agree with that. Sigma Nu, UCLA. Is ordered to. Yeah, that's really bizarre. That's Sigma Nu, UCLA. This is the thing. Even if, like, you can't legislate morality. Sigma Nu UCLA. You can't legislate morality. Morality you have to learn from your parents, from your friends, not your friends, but your parents, your family, your religious institution, logic, reason. Generally, logic and reason should be used, along with just a basic understanding of human life. We all knew racism was bad. It's always been bad. This is not the 50s or the 60s anymore, and even people back then understood it was just a different world. Then you could say, yeah, that was that was truly systemic. It was truly systemic. You can say you could say this. From a sports perspective, there was systemic racism. Doug Williams is a man that should be Sigma Nu UCLA and Lisa Lister and everybody here. Doug Williams should be championed. I mean, he should be talked about as an icon, a civil rights icon, for what he did, winning the Super Bowl. Redskins quarterback, first black quarterback to win the Super Bowl, and believe it or not, there was racism definitely within media and within the NFL, within society, pertaining to that. Doug Williams Doug Williams, quarterback of the Redskins, is truly an American hero. He really is. And he got injured that game. And he set records in the Super Bowl. That was a great Super Bowl. Doug Williams is definitely a sports, but also a civil rights icon. See, I'd much rather learn about Doug Williams in his contribution to society and to the NFL and to sports and to life than a UC Berkeley video from 1998 on how I should think and how I should live and how, I'd much rather learn about how people like Doug Williams changed the world for the better. So what Trump did was good. This is also, they are so, the left is so clueless. Democrats are so clueless. Originally the Bucks, and then the Redskins. He has a great story too. Great story. Sigma Nu UCLA. Yeah, I mean, it's like Democrats are almost giving. They've given the election to President Trump. They've given him the election. Because you're not going to win without enthusiasm. You're just not going to win without enthusiasm. That is just not happening. So, if you don't have enthusiasm, you ain't going to win. Well, that is a gnarly insect I'm looking at right now. If you don't have enthusiasm, you ain't going to win. So, and there's zero enthusiasm. Zero. For Biden. Absolutely zero for Biden. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very, very much. I think we're going to call it an evening. We almost had issues, but thank goodness we circumvented them. Lisa Lister, I can't thank you enough. Lisa, thank you so very, very, very much, Lisa. Have a great, great evening, and thank you as always for watching. Lisa Lister, thank you. People, thank you so very much. Sigma Nu UCLA. Thanks, everybody. God bless. To my super chat, thank you. And Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, thank you so very, very much. People, thanks, everybody. Kathy DePoy, thank you so much, as always, Kathy. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow for the upload and live stream, 9 p.m. Pacific. Be here, people. Thanks, everybody.